Reddit, what is the guiltiest FAP you have ever had? NSFW. My grandma was in a bad way and it was likely she was going to pass away in the next day or two. It was like 3 a.m. and I couldn't sleep. And was also horny. So I figured I'd jack off to help fall asleep faster. I did my business and came. But didn't have time to clean up because I heard footsteps coming towards my room, so I just pulled up my pants and covered myself with my blanket. Still completely wet with semen. My mom came into my room and told me my grandma had just passed away, while I was literally covered in semen. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever not feel guilty about that one. Sad face. I was young, horny, no internet, and the only video I could find with nudity was Schindler's List. My ex killed herself last January. I've recently fapped while thinking about her blowing me. She was a pro, not sure how I feel about it really. Back in the teen days, jerked it to the lead singer of Tokyo Hotel. Thought she was hot, yet turns out she's a he. I was studying abroad and it took me a while to secure a steady room. When I got there I learned that I'll have to wait a day for the internet service to work, for some reason. I haven't fapped in almost a month and I was so horny I went to 7-Eleven's and bought an adults mag. Dude at the counter told me to have a good time. It was awkward as duck, but I have the imagination of a rock, so that's that. When I first discovered wanking I jerked off to the female character in the film Robots that I had on my PSP because at the time I was in an insane asylum as a patient and didn't have access to the internet. Maybe I'm dumb. But the ones that are like so and so called me mid-FAP to tell me my dad died. Confuse me. Who the hell answers mid-FAP? Let it go to voicemail and call back later like a normal person. Went camping with two friends. Jerked in the tent next to them while they had sex. Not even my worst. That would be the time I masturbated to an item of clothing that I thought was my sister's friend's. Yes. That story ended in exactly the way you think. There was a reply to this question previously and someone said it was this girl's voice in a video game. I can't remember the game, but the more you killed your enemies the more excited her voice got or something like that. Been trying to find that forever. Hot drive-through Starbucks girl. Absolutely stunning. Anyway, after seeing her I went to the emptiest part of that parking lot and did the deed. Got my frap and proceeded to FAP. I was around 10 to 11. So I had just discovered masturbation around this time. There was this girl at church that I was very attracted to and she was like 15 to 16 and she suddenly showed up. Fast forward to my cousin's birthday party and my family and I go and she's there. Then my mom introduces me to her. Meet your cousin, oh let's go with Blue. She finally moved back into the city last month. So I was fapping thinking about a cousin of mine I didn't know was my cousin. Issue is I probably didn't stop for a lot longer than I want to admit. So I was sitting in my cubicle today. And I realized. Ever since I started fapping. Every single FAP in my life has been guiltier than the one before it. So that means that every single time that I FAP. That's the guiltiest FAP of my life. Fapping over pictures I have of my ex from when we were together. While my current soul was in the shower. I have some female friends on Snapchat who are extremely attractive. We know each other pretty well actually. But on Snapchat they love to document their night at bars or clubs and they Snapchat each other twerking. I felt like a creep. There's a program on my computer that acts as an emulator for a PS4 controller. You can access certain inputs of the controller such as the rumble. I use it as a vibrator frequently. Not really ashamed of it though. So in my teens, I had a really cute female friend that would come over and hang out and we would smoke weed together and chill and watch TV for hours. She was someone who was out of my league to even think about dating. So instant friend zoned. One day she confessed that she hung out there every day was because her stepfather was molesting her and taking nude photos of her. So she did what she could do to avoid the time he was the only person in the house. We sat there and talked about things she could do. Like GTFO from that place. I told her she should steal his money and grab a Greyhound and go hold up at her aunt's place several states away. Sometime after midnight I hear a rock hit my window. I look out, it was her. She did take his money, as well as his car. She also found the photos he took of her. She wrote a letter to him stating that he was to not call the cops or find her. Otherwise the photos will end up being delivered to the police. She gave me the photos to hold onto, and if I get that call, I was the one that was going to walk into the police station and turn them in, along with a letter from her. 30 minutes after she drove off, I opened that box and yeah, I fapped. Prom of 2014. I dared my friend to wear her dress without panties as a joke and to provide pics, or it didn't happen. Because whatever. Right? Thought nothing of it, but then she really did it. She was sporting her really long blue dress, so no chance of flashing, but showed me a side view picture of her dress hiked up and her leg curled up / raised to cover the goods. I was hard as a ducking rock, but I had to play it off like a platonic friend should. Mind you, we had a platonic type relationship and we told each other everything, so it was nothing out of the ordinary, but that was the first time I'd ever gotten anything remotely close to seeing her naked, and I was struck. Went to the washroom sometime during the night at the ballroom and busted a massive load. Of course, I saw her as my sister, but she crossed a line wherein I had to quickly remove the pseudo family tag and smashed one out. I couldn't help it. And then I fapped a second time that same night. Watching her dance and keeping in mind that she was naked underneath her dress. Couldn't look her mom in the eye for the next week or so. I was in Wales in the 1990s staying at a string of hostels along the coast. I had very little privacy and hadn't fapped in days. I climbed alone up to a Celtic hill fort overlooking the sea. This amazing stone castle thing. And had an attack of hornitos I could not control. Wild Celtic banshee women of the past haunted the place, I guess. I fapped in a cold stone passageway and blew a giant white load on the Iron Age rocks. A brisk maritime breeze was howling. I was almost deaf from it. As I zipped up my pants and started downhill, I was like, what the fuck was that all about? My brother didn't know I was home at the time, and walked from the shower to the kitchen, and only noticed me on the couch as he was walking back to the bathroom with a slice of cold pizza in one hand, and jerking it with the other. I hate myself for it, but that memory is my go-to for flicking the bean now. I did it to the Song of Solomon out of the Old Testament when I was like 12. Gosh, something about those erotic descriptions doesn't belong in the Bible. Close second and more distant third/fourth are a black and white picture of 3 naked ladies commissioned by Nazis or something from a history book on the Third Reich. Some really ducked up dolly artwork, and a vase I saw in a book of old Greek art. God, these are weird looking back. As a kid, the Sears catalog, I'd say I had it in the bathroom to look at toys, but I'd be jerking it to the women who posed showing off bras or beachwear. I was in Italy for 2 weeks and I really tried going the whole trip without jerking off, but on the second last day I had the urgency to do it. I just had to do it. So while my brother and my cousin are chilling in the bedroom, I go into the washroom and like 2 seconds later, like a shaken pop can ready to explode, I cum all over the place and I completely miss the toilet and the tissue and I splatter everywhere. It was one of the greatest blown loads I've ever had. I swear to you, I almost passed out after it was over. Made a nearly nude female character in Saints Row wearing nothing but pasties and a thong. Started getting horny from looking at my character. Had to rub one out. My friend and his wife were boning in the bedroom, loudly, while I slept on the couch. The wife was hot. I jerked it, and just as I'm walking to the bathroom to rinse off my hand, they finish and she comes to the bathroom at the same time. I think she wanted a 3-way, but he didn't. Hence the noise. Another time we were headed back from the club with not enough seats in the car, so she sat on my lap. Bumpy roads. Jesus Christ, I was stiff as a ducking board. Another time we were all high on E and I was laying on the bed next to her, just barely not touching. It seemed like eternity. Then he goes to work and she changes her shirt in front of me. Jesus Christ. But I did nothing, because he was my friend. Similar things happened with another friend actually. And I am not the most good looking guy either. They would have probably been the best lays of my life. Later both couples ended up getting divorced because the women cheated. Now I surf Reddit, alone with my morals.